have Shayna Ireland, who is actually another trainer who works here, and she has worked here for how long now? Almost 3 years, right?
Almost. Yep.
Well, just like what we did with Eric, we're going to talk about, Shayna, what got her to start here, stuff like that. But we're also going to talk about this little lady down here that Shayna's been working with for a few months now. She's been here a while.
Yeah.
Her name is Izzy. She is a sweetheart. She is one of our candidates to go with a veteran to be a service dog. With her being a service dog, of course, she'll have to do certain needs or certain tasks for her person to, help them in everyday life. But Shayna, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Just a little bit, whatever you feel comfortable with sharing. Really.
I'm an old woman. I'm 31. I started at Duffy's, almost 3 years ago now. Wow. Crazy to say, honestly. I had a little bit of a background with dogs. I worked at Dogtopia, and it was like a doggy daycare. And then I would just dog sit. I never babysat, always dog sat. I have a baby, and his was the first diaper that I'd ever changed. And I wish that I had babysat a little bit growing up instead of just dog sitting. What are you doing?
She said she's going to find something down there.
Get out of there. She's a mischievous woman. But, I have 2 dogs at home. I have a cat. I have a dog that hates my cat. And a dog-aggressive dog. So, it's been interesting. One came before the other. The dog-aggressive dog came after the first dog.
Names. We need names.
Stella is the dog-aggressive dog, and Tatey is from the Aero Fund. They take, worst-case scenario dogs. So, she had a jaw injury. Well, they think she was shot in the face. So, she looked pretty awful. So, they fixed her up, did reconstruction surgery, and then, now she's a normal dog. Her tongue hangs out. People ask, what happened. But she lives a normal life. And then her sister is the dog-aggressive one, and I think it works with them because Stella came second. Tatum was first. So Stella never knew anything else until she went to training elsewhere. We could talk about that too, but we don't have to.
Well, how old are your dogs?
Tatey's 6 and Stella's 4.
Okay.
Almost
I thought
5.
Stella was older.
No, I know.
That's wild.
So Tatey definitely, came from it. Neither one of them have gray or anything, but.
Well, Stella has gray hair, but not like.
Yeah.
It's on her body. It's not.
Yeah.
Because she's an older dog or anything, and that's what I've always wondered. Because of course I've seen the way she acts here, but I've also seen Tatey as well. So I don't know, they're going crazy back there.
They just broke something out there. I don't know what's going on.
Grant is here with his dogs, and they like to pick brand new toys off the shelf. So that's probably what just happened.
That is exactly what that was. That's funny.
But what made you? Do you remember when you came here to interview? I don't even remember you coming in. I remember other people's, but I don't remember when you came in.
I snuck in. I was right after Mickey and Annie.
Okay.
A month after Annie, or 2 weeks after Annie. So I think it was just all of us at once, and then I don't know. Now we're kind of clumped together as the 3 of us, but what made me come to Duffy's was I was a bartender for a long time, and I just was so tired of it. I made good money. I definitely don't dog train for the money, that's for sure. But I'm definitely happier here. So I could catch myself, with the regulars at the bar. I could just see myself, you can be a certain way bartending, but, you can't rip people's heads off. And I was getting to the point where I was yeah, I'm not being nice anymore. I need to figure out something else. And I actually went to Dogtopia and then came here. I needed something with more structure than Dogtopia. Dogtopia was fun, but it was doggy daycare, and I needed help at home with my own dogs. Door control, one dog wouldn't go up and down the steps, that kind of thing. And then my aggressive dog that acts out every now and then. Never really with her sister, but with dogs selective, I would say. With other dogs, definitely. She does it here a lot.
I was going to say, when you put her outside that one day, I can't remember who it was, but you actually made them jump as they walked out of the door. She was outside on the porch in a pen.
Yeah.
And whoever it was, I think it might have been Jordan.
Yeah, he was like, who is that dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she lost her mind as soon as he stepped out of the door. I think I was actually outside walking a dog when that happened.
Yeah.
And it was pretty funny, really.
He was like,
it made him jump.
There's a dog out there, and I'm like, yeah, that's my dog.
Yeah.
I was a little embarrassed, but she's definitely, well, my parents started with a pinch that was way too small. They couldn't get it. Once you have a pinch on for so long, it becomes to where it's like not as tight. All the, how they loosen up.
Yeah.
Well, and they didn't have like there's clasp now, there's other things that you can do. They just didn't know. So they had the smallest pinch you can have on an 80-pound dog.
There's a tiny one up there behind you.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Where? Yeah.
That black one
yeah,
right there?
Pretty much. Yeah, it looked like paper clips on her big fat neck, and I had to laugh. I'm like, okay, that's not gonna do anything. So that was my first step with hers, to upgrade that pinch, and we got the clasp so they can take it on and off easy. And yeah, now it's no. I think they thought we would go on a walk and it would just like pop off. And I'm like, that's like a freak accident.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. It does happen every now and then, but
Right.
it's like very seldom that it just, you haven't hooked it together right if it's going to pop off like that.
Right.
Usually is what happens. So
That actually happened to me a couple days ago, actually. We had a dog here.
yeah.
Who was it? I corrected him, and it was barely a tug, and the prong collar flew off across the floor. It was Goliath, the big shepherd.
Oh, yeah.
He's like 7 months old, but he's 75 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big dog.
Yeah.
It was a perfect name for him, Goliath. It fits him perfect. But as soon as I went to give him his first correction on the prong collar, it just popped right off. And I assumed that like only one of the prongs was where it was supposed to be.
It had to have been
And
it.
it just
Yeah.
popped off when I gave the correction.
And I don't check it like super thoroughly. Maybe I should because I've had that happen too, where it just like snaps right off.
Have you ever had a dog that you've corrected them and the slip collar broke?
No,
That's happened a couple times too.
I've seen that happen with you.
Yeah, I think was it the black shepherd that I did it with? I barely even did anything. And
We
it just
were in the
popped right
yard
off.
one time. It made me think the slip was like
I remember that too.
faulty or something.
Yeah.
Because I was like I watched it and I was like,
It depends on how they weld it, really.
Yeah,
If they don't weld
could
it
see that.
right, it's gonna pop off. It's
Yeah.
like having a bad necklace or something,
right.
or an earring that comes apart and it can easily fall off.
Yeah, I have a bunch of those.
How many, when you worked at Dogtopia, I've never really asked you that much about Dogtopia.
Oh, yeah.
Even in the years that you've been here, which is crazy. But did you guys take dogs that, had attitude?
No, they had to, if they were even going to come for like grooming, they had to be okay with being in doggy daycare for the day. Mm-hmm. And also the boarders. Like they wouldn't just take a boarder that couldn't go to school.
Yeah.
So the way they do that is they have like a little side room, and there's they all have walkie-talkies and leashes and stuff, but there's a person, they come in, they have the guest dog, and then we basically say to our person in the room with the 30 dogs, hey, send in Cooper because we pick the dogs that we know that are super friendly, benign. You know, the first dog, there was stages to it. The first one was, you know, had been here a long time, benign, not going to run right up on the other dog kind of thing, because it's all off leash.
Oh.
So, like, yeah, you go back and you think about it now and you're like, oh my gosh. But I never had it. If I had an incident, it was always because the visiting dog was like, nah, I'm not cool with this. And they decided to, like, act out. But I think they sometimes, like, I would always hold the visiting dog's leash. But not everybody did it that way.
Yeah.
And so we'd send one dog in, and then the second dog would be like a dog of the opposite sex, and then the third dog would be like a dog that was like super hyper, like the biggest challenge, basically. Mm-hmm. And it would be those 3 visitors and that dog and you. And so you're, you know, and you can send a dog out and send one back in if it got to where it was like 3 huge dogs in the same room. But that's kind of how they did that. And there's never no bad circumstances or anything, but I could totally see now, you know, not having a leash on, using harnesses, you know, just using, we were in COVID, so we used all of our own leashes and collars, and no one was allowed in the lobby. So that was another thing, because every dog was on a buckle, which is fine, but like some dogs have slips and like they need them, and it's COVID, so yeah. I think it was easier to mass wash buckle collars than like mass wash like their own collars.
Right.
So we just bought like a mass amount, and that's what we did, but now it's totally different.
Most of the vet's offices, when COVID happened, you'd have to go get the dog out of the car. Did you have to do that?
Yeah. I went to
that would be so,
a vet.
I don't know. Like, we see defensive dogs that can be possessive over, like, toys and stuff, but we also see those dogs that, you know, you get into their bubble. I've always been worried about that kind of thing, like somebody coming out to my car.
Yeah, my sister has
my dog.
2 Chow Chows, and they're the sweetest dogs, but if you don't know Hemi, you can't just grab him.
Right.
And so before they even, I knew my sister would be upset about this, but before they even came to grab Hemi, I went ahead and said, go ahead and like give me the muzzle. I'll put the muzzle on, and he's a Chow. So he has that weird short snout, like good luck, you know, getting a muzzle on him that he can keep on. But I muzzled him myself, and then they just walked him in, so I knew it wasn't going to be some big, you know, he wasn't going to, like, anal gland or, like, freak out, because he had never, I don't know what they were out of town for, but my sister was freaking out more than the dog was. The dog was fine, but...
That's how most of the people that leave dogs here are.
Yeah.
Over the weekend or over the weeks. I won't say they freak out, but they are worried about their dogs.
Oh, definitely.
More so, and...
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be worried about your kids, and to most people, your dogs are your kids. And I realized that with Kevin and Winston's owners.
Yeah.
I love those 2 dogs.
Yeah.
And their owners are so cool. I saw them once at Dragon King's Daughter while I took Elena there to get sushi.
Oh, really?
But.
How random.
Well, they asked me, like, how come we didn't get pictures of Kevin and Winston? We were worried. And I was like, we try to send pictures, but it's hard for us to remember on the weekend because it's the weekend. Everybody's doing something, you know.
Yeah.
But those 2 dogs, I mean, they take good pictures too. So.
They do.
They make it 10 times easier.
Yeah.
What about when you worked there? What would you say? You said they did doggy daycare. Mm-hmm. There was no like teaching anything like that.
No, not really. We couldn't. It was one of the only doggy daycares in Louisville too that has cameras. Mm-hmm. So people love that, and I love that for people. I mean, that's great that you can see and check in.
That is pretty cool.
they like to watch their dogs while they're at work, that kind of thing. But it also made it to where, there was an instance one time where I had a little dog and he was getting aggressive with another one, and I kind of like stuck my foot out in between them to like get them to not fight each other, and I kicked the lady's dog, and I'm like, I actually was just moving him across, like, trying to stop them from fighting, but it's hard when you're on camera and you have no spray bottle, no leash. There's no way. I would make a loud noise. I would drop bowls on the ground. They would all stop. The whole room stops. There's 30 of them in a tornado. Roxy Boxy, one of our,
Love her.
yeah, I'd bring her out if she was here. One of our clients now, she's
actually
a regular.
canceled, by the way.
Really?
She was supposed to be here this weekend, but she's
Yeah,
not.
so something happened because she was just here.
Yeah.
But I'm glad because I can tell she gets all sad.
Glum when she's here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's prison. But
It's not. It's nice.
it is. And they have nice pins, and they have nice pins outside. The outside's the best part, especially in the summer for them here.
Well, I will say this. Roxy does like being outside.
Yeah.
The way she hangs out there is great.
Poop parkour.
What?
Yeah, she gets poop parkour.
Oh, yeah. Every time she
Yeah.
poops, she's just bouncing off the walls. Every time, too.
Yeah, I like brace myself
Yeah,
for her now.
every
I'm like,
time.
oh no.
She cracks me up because she is one of the, out of most of the dogs that we have, she is the quietest dog that we have here.
She doesn't make any noise.
But there was one time, actually, Shayna just told me about this week. We heard her screaming and like losing her mind in the pen. She had to poop and pee. She is one of those good dogs that, will tell us when she's got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
But she loves it outside. Or if we have her walking around and we're doing stuff with her, she loves it. She does so good, too.
Yeah.
Because I think she's around 4, maybe 5.
I think she's
4.
probably 4. Yeah.
I know he told us when her birthday is. I know I have.
Well, and I have pictures of her from being a puppy.
Really?
Yeah. At Dogtopia.
You better
But,
show us those.
well, her grandpa used to bring her, and that's who I thought her dad was. And so, we'd say, Roxy got kicked out of school today. We recommend training. And he'd say, yeah, okay. And he'd come back a week later and he said, Roxy had training, and she would have gone to feeders. She went to feeders 3 times until we expelled her. Yeah, she had to go.
Yeah.
And then now she's at Duffy's forever. So, yeah, I always wondered where she went. And when I walked in the door, I was like, I know this dog.
Yeah.
And, yeah, same last name. So it's definitely her.
When
But-
you worked at Dogtopia, is that the one that's over past the mall?
Yeah,
Like
Shelbyville Road.
Bonefish is right down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Lena and I went to Bonefish a couple weeks ago, I saw it and I was like, that looks new, but I wonder if that's the one Shayna worked at.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Been around a little while.
Trying to be new.
We had a lady from Happy Hounds in yesterday trying to sell us turf.
That would have been
Kind of
cool.
interesting.
Have
Dogtopia
turf.
had turf.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, their backyard wasn't any bigger than this area.
Really.
Yeah.
I feel like we could have. Did you fart, woman? Did you fart? I think she farted. Something smells gross. Unless it's just because you lifted your leg. But
Yuck. Izzy's getting a bath soon.
she better be getting back.
She
She is also hopefully going home in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm crossing our fingers for that. We've had her for a few months, like I said, right?
Yeah.
Her and Beretta. Beretta went home this past week, and then
least 5 weeks.
she'll go home. Buck will go home Wednesday, which is kind of wild. Buck is a good boy, but I'll miss him too. I like Buck.
He's been interesting.
He may
he's
be
been
a
one of our-
loud, obnoxious dog, but he is a good working dog. And Shayna, Miranda, Mickey are actually, I lead and oversee all the service dog work, but these are the people that you see that do all the work with these dogs, and they do exceptional. Especially with Izzy, You taking Izzy, I mean, you've taken Izzy out, 10 times, 10, 15 times?
Oh, yeah.
You take her everywhere with you.
Yeah, random places. She was really concerned about the wolf at Bass Pro. I had to laugh. I think she thought it was like gonna like spring alive.
Oh, for sure.
At any second. I mean, that was like the one thing that tripped her up. She was like,
yeah.
To that.
You're talking
wolf.
about the one that like looks at the water.
Yeah.
That's how Scout was the very first time I went there. He actually, his hair stood up and he started growling as we were walking by it.
Really?
Yeah, because he thought it was, I assume, real, you know.
I wonder what it smells like to them.
I don't know.
Like, I'm like, do you know that that's...
I mean, is it actually like a real stuffed wolf? I've always wondered that.
I think so.
Because I would figure the other animals are, because there's bears.
I think so. I don't know.
What do you say, moose or meese?
Mace.
There's a lot of moose there. But with those dogs that freak out there, that's why we go there a lot, is because of all the distractions of animals. The last dog that I took there, Bretta, she actually barked at the bears going down the stairs, where you took the picture of her in the aquarium.
She was intrigued by the bear.
Yeah, Bretta barked a couple times. She
whipped her head around, yeah. I was like...
Cookie did too, Cookie, because that's who the last person I went there with. Cookie barked a few times. But the bears are a little bit more spooky, you know. They're the bigger predator. You know?
There's 3. I think there's like 3 of them. They're like. Yeah. She was. Yeah.
Did you take her up the elevators?
Yeah, we did.
Was that like nerve-wracking to her?
She didn't care.
Most dogs could care less about the elevator. And
I was
think
wondering.
that they'd freak out about it because it's a moving floor, a moving platform. Right. Especially with those elevators, they're see-through. They've got windows, giant windows.
Yeah.
The ones, did you go up the, well, actually both of them technically. One goes up past the aquarium so you can look into it and see all the fish, and then the other one oversees the entire store.
Oh, we only did the aquarium one.
Okay, the other one's up toward the front.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we'll have to do that next time.
That one is, even to me, I think it's a little bit more nerve-wracking. Because you can see so much more. But there's a deer in front of that one, too, that you'll go right past, and the dogs will be like, what is that? And weird looking dog, you know.
What's going on?
Have you ever taken dogs anywhere with horses?
No.
I know some dogs react to them. Raven and Mavis, their owner actually rides horses like for a living. That's what she does all the time.
I did not know that.
So she wanted Raven to be her service dog while she's riding horses. And I can't remember if they she works at a place that takes you on horse rides, something like that.
Yeah.
But when she first started here, the reason she got Raven is because she fell off a horse and broke her arm. She had to have that pole put in that straightens her arm because it was multiple pieces. And it had to stay there for 3 months or something like that. Because I know another person who did it while skiing, which is horrible. But she wanted Raven to be her service dog. Like if something happened while she's riding the horse, again, she gets knocked out cold. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
I believe it was, Raven's got to go get somebody or she's got to alert to where mom is. But
perfect.
Anyway, the horses are like the stuffed animals. But I believe every dog looks at horses or bigger animals that they don't know what it is. They're like, that is a big MFing dog.
Oh, yeah.
I took
biggest
Scout.
Dog I've ever seen.
Right. I took Scout when I went camping with Devin and his 2 Australian Shepherds.
Oh, yeah.
He actually, we camped down in the horse area, right? With the trailers, stuff like that. But we saw so many horses, and all of our dogs were looking at those horses like, what is that? That's
it's not something you think to do, to desensitize them around.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you don't see them very often either, so.
No, not here in town. I mean, I see them out where I live. Quite a bit, but I don't think Scout had ever seen them.
Right.
It was funny. Our neighbors across the street. When I said that to Devin, when I said, "Oh, that looks like a big horse," and or a big dog, that's what Scout was thinking. I thought about my neighbors who lived across the street from us a long time ago. Mm-hmm. They would ride horses every day, and there would be poop all over the roads and stuff. But that's how far in the country we are.
Yeah.
But he would have gotten used to them then. He just thought they were weird when they went camping. But stuff like that, like you said, you wouldn't think to desensitize dogs to it or get them used to it.
Right.
But that's why we take them to Bass Pro with all those animals, because dogs could freak out about a stuffed animal.
Oh, yeah.
And think about, I don't know, maybe you have a friend that you take your dog over to their house and they've got a squirrel or a coyote, above their fireplace.
Right.
Your dog can freak out about it.
Yeah. Deer heads on the wall.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny that you said that. There's a house on the way home that
gosh.
I pass every day. And every day I go home, it's almost dark. But this guy always has his dining room light on, and he's got 3 deer head looking out the window. So it looks like the deer are watching you as you drive past his house.
That's so weird.
It's been there forever, too.
Yeah.
I don't know why he doesn't move them, He's probably single, but...
He's probably single.
He probably is,
single.
man. If you were married, you wouldn't let your husband do that.
No, I would not.
Put 3 deer heads in
No,
the dining
those
room
would
window.
have been gone long time ago. That's funny.
Well, what was when you started here, what were your thoughts on, what you wanted to do with dogs? Did you have, I kind of want to work with service dogs or bite dogs, police dogs, stuff like that?
I guess growing up with chows, when you're little, you don't really, you kind of just do what your parents say. You don't really question things.
Yeah.
Well, we had a dog that we had for 15 years and, she bit 7 people.
Dang.
Bit one of my dad's good friends worked for LMPD. He had a steak. When we were grilling out, he had a steak. He bent down to pet the dog. Honestly, you look back and you're like, wow, how dumb. But at the time, it's you really don't think about these things. And he looked like the Joker. She got him in the face. Yeah, the other ones were people reaching hands over the fence and stuff. Yeah, but just to think, we had this dog with a bite with an 8-person bite history. And now my sister has 2, and they're fine. They're oddballs in the chow community, but yeah, no, I had to figure something out because she had a red chow that was trying to kill us.
Is that Hemi?
His name was Griff.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he was really, really tough. He got out when a house sitter was watching the house.
Oh.
Yeah. So that did not.
What happened?
I think it was 4th of July.
Oh, okay.
And it set him off because this girl had watched him before, but I think he just jumped the fence in the backyard. He would jump on the trash can, catapult himself onto this rock and clear this fence. I don't even know how he did it.
Literally do parkour.
Yeah. He attacked one of the other dogs in the house a couple times. They kept putting him in a wire crate. They just didn't know. They needed a rough one. But I didn't work here at the time to give them this information. But no, and all we had was the camera. So we'd look at the camera, and Charlie was at work one day, and Griff was dragging Hemi across the floor by his neck. So whoever could get there the fastest and the quickest, But yeah, no, he ended up getting hit back hard because when he would get out, it was he was going to attack someone. Yeah. That's what he was out for.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a hunting party.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything was prey to him. And even with us, he could sit with me and be okay, and then 10 minutes later the flip switched and he would be showing all of his teeth and nobody could do anything about it. Charlie couldn't handle him. He'd bite Charlie too. So I'm now what?
You want to know why I'm laughing?
Because that's crazy face.
No, because you said flip switched.
I did?
I do that all the time.
Flip switched.
Yeah.
I would have never
all the time. I do
caught
it all
myself.
the time.
But they call that something. When you flip it around.
Well, yeah, but you meant switch flip.
What's it called? Freudian? Is that a Freudian slip?
What? No, I'm talking about, you said flipped switch.
I
It's
know, but they
switch
call it
flipped.
they call it something when you get
I
things
don't know.
reversed.
Oh.
I can't think of the name.
My goodness, I do that all the time, especially when I open here. Oh my gosh.
Oh, if you're here at 6 a.m., yeah.
I said Raven and Mavis.
Mavis and
right?
Raven.
I said once Maven and Ravis.
There you go.
Like,
that's what I really
as
meant.
quick as possible. And Miranda stopped for a second. She turned around and was like, "What did you say?" I said Maven and Ravis. And I paused for a second and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, that's not it." It was just early.
Yeah, yeah.
I wake up super early on those days, but I do it still in lessons. That right there, what you said, flip switch,
or
whatever you said, I do
I
that
didn't know.
in evaluations or lessons. I just keep going. I ignore it.
Yeah.
That's why I laugh so hard, because you didn't even notice it.
No.
I wonder if that's how they look at me, like, did he really say that?
I'm sure they do.
How he said it?
I'm sure they do. So sweet.
She is very sweet. We guessed her to be around 17 months old, so a year and a half, somewhere around there. But who knows? She's stinking cute, though. She's going to be a perfect dog for somebody. What did you say?
Everyone thinks she's a puppy.
Oh, for sure, because she's tiny. How much does she weigh? Probably like 45?
I was going to say not more than 50. Because I can pick her up easily. And Knox is like almost my 3-year-old, almost 38 pounds, I think. And yeah, I feel like I'm lifting a bag of bricks when I pick him up.
Well, last question, because we'll end this here in a minute. But now that you've worked here for as long as you've worked here, have you discovered that you have a certain preference to what kind of dogs you work? Would you say you like the service dogs the most? Because here's how I think about it. That's why I, took the coordinator role to work with service dogs. I want to help people.
Yeah.
And I love, especially with Izzy, getting her from a shelter and training her to help somebody else. So what one of the people we work with, Dogs Helping Heroes, their slogan is, "We help dogs that help heroes." I love that. I think it's perfect because with Izzy, she might not have ever found a home because she likes to run. And that's why she was brought back to the shelter, because she likes to run off. But as long as you really put in the work with her, it doesn't matter. But really, that's what I like the most. And I would say
I agree.
You probably do too.
Oh,
you
yeah.
work with a ton of the service dogs.
Well, and when the option is in the air of, what are we going to do? Are we going to keep them? Are we going to give them back? I always try to lean towards, wanting to keep them. Mm-hmm. Because we've turned some dogs around, like totally around. And none of mine were, she's probably the easiest one. Really? Aurora was huge.
Yeah.
She just didn't, she had probably never been taught how to play. So, she just didn't know how to play. But she was also trained for the total opposite person of who she went to. She's supposed to go to someone visually impaired. She went to someone that's like physically impaired. So that was.
And now they're doing great. He actually texted me the other day.
I figured they were. That's good.
Because you spent all the time with Aurora, did all the work with her.
Yeah.
She is a German Shepherd, 100%, by the way. Did I tell you that?
I wondered that.
Because
she's got some gray, and she's just huge.
Yeah, oh yeah. They brought in the ancestry to one of their lessons before
Interesting.
they graduated. And it said she was 100% German Shepherd.
Wow.
She was extraordinary. But.
Yeah, she was huge.
Did you know that guy coaches baseball? I think you knew that, right?
Yeah.
Every game that he coaches, if it's football or baseball, she's there, like on the sideline.
That's
or, like,
awesome.
In the dugout.
I bet cool. She loves that.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
One of the things that Shayna she didn't complain about it, but she would be like, she likes doing this the most is place. Like putting her in a specific spot and telling her to stay for good until I tell you to move. I bet she does that. Like on the side of the field in a specific spot,
Oh, I guarantee it.
Loves it.
Yeah.
But have you had like a favorite dog that you've worked with, like a service dog? I can cover her ears if you'd like.
Cash.
Oh.
Yeah.
A full size, 100% black German Shepherd.
My first one.
Was he your first
Yeah.
service dog? Really?
Yeah, I think that's why he was
Dang.
my favorite, because we had so many obstacles, like stand stay. They went to test him, and I thought stand stay was like directed stand.
Okay.
So, Mr. Duffy goes to like stay back up with tension on the leash, and he gets up every time, and he's like, why doesn't he know?
Yeah.
And I didn't know.
Yeah, you're getting it backwards.
Yeah.
And that does happen. When Kat was here, when I first started doing that stuff, same shoes you're in, or you were in, she told me shield, brace, like all these.
Well, they were all
words.
old. I came when I started. We had the old words. We did watch.
Yeah.
We did shield.
You were here when Cookie went home the first time.
Yeah.
Right? That's wild to me.
I think so.
I think you
maybe.
were.
I think so.
Because even like Christian had been here for like a year and a half by that point, or a year.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. But still.
Yeah.
We have switched so much stuff since you've started. But it's still, I mean, Cash, he turned out to be an excellent dog, especially with who he went with.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but what a perfect fit. The guy was single. He needed to work with a dog.
Right.
Because with all these dogs, we see that. I mean, it almost lights up their world because they're getting their best friend, their co-pilot is what they call him, their co-pilot to work with them every single day. Cash was one of those perfect dogs. If he went with the right person, which he did, he's going to be an excellent dog. And he is. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't remember when he certified, but it wasn't too long ago. Maybe he is coming up on a year.
I want to say a year.
Dang.
I know it.
It's flying.
It is. Yeah.
Because Cagney, he's coming up too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Next week, the week after.
I feel like that was last week. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Cagney was a cattle dog mix.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to say Australian Shepherd.
Miranda did all the work with him, and that was a dog. You asked Miranda when she's on here, the same thing, favorite dog, I bet she says Cagney.
Yeah, I can see that.
I know she liked Buck a lot. She's having some Buck Beretta. Miranda, I swear, she has like a secret bond with these dogs.
Yeah.
Every dog.
That's true.
But, I mean, it's you, Annie, Mickey, and Miranda, and Jana, really, are the people that I say. It's the women. That's what it is.
Yeah, they like the ladies.
Yeah, that have these special bonds with each person. Even Coda, like this morning or this afternoon when I got him, he followed Shayna out the door instead of hanging out with me.
He thought he was with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though she had this little one.
Cash was hard to break of that. I had to pull Christian out in the yard a couple times because Christian would be working him and say, come, and Cash would come from 8 miles away to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And I would have another dog, and we had to really break that. So he would, and he did. He ended up
just
fine with
much,
that. But yeah, they get to like you, and
he was a dog you would have taken home, I'm sure.
I would have.
There
Oh, he was my soul dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Coda never finds a home, I'm taking him home. I don't care. I'm taking him home.
I'd take Coda home.
He's too good.
I already said I'd take her. She's going somewhere,
She'd
though.
be too easy at home. I mean,
know.
you guys have seen how she's doing right now. She's too easy.
She is.
But she does follow our rules really well, too. I wouldn't say she's a lazy dog, but she likes to lounge about a lot.
I just think she enjoys, like, the peace and quiet.
Yeah.
I can tell when she gets in the car, like, out of the dog room, and, like, the first thing she does is just lays up in the backseat like a cat, curls up like a cat, and just lays down.
Well, that's what I call her all the time. She's a cat dog.
She is.
I mean, she's just like a cat.
Funny we talk about that because Aurora was also a cat dog, and I feel like that's why Place was her favorite thing because she liked to go in little confined little areas.
Almost
and
curl
like
up.
yeah,
Yep.
weasel in. And
That would make sense.
whereas Cash you'd say Place, and his feet are hanging out in the aisle, and he's tripping the waitress, and I'm like, get your big butt back in here.
Yeah.
But he'd do it. His leg would be out, and I'm like, okay, he'd do it with a flair, I guess.
Did I tell you about taking Coda to Tomo, the Japanese restaurant?
Yes.
He laid out outside of the booth, but we were like in the back corner, so he was in a perfect spot.
Yeah.
But every time the guy would come up, he would literally just out of his way, like step over Coda, almost like trying to get Coda to stand up so he could pet him or something. Or
Yeah.
be like, oops, I pet him or something
Yeah.
like that. But it was very cute. It's funny how some dogs are, because it's almost like they're trying to get attention when they do that. Like Cash,
Oh, yeah.
it was probably like, I'll stretch out however I want so somebody says hi to me or something.
I think so. Yeah.
But do you have anything else you want to talk about? Anything you said you want to?
When you see the funny-looking dogs in public, be nice to them. That's all I want to say. Because I have a funny-looking dog, and she gets lots of, finger points and stares and what happened, and people cry over her. She was famous. She was like an Ethan for a little while until, she just kind of got really but they ended up, out of all the people, they ended up picking my mom and dad. I mean, they live on 2 acres, so why not pick them? And they had no other animals or anything, but no, be nice to the funny-looking dogs, because I always feel bad for Tatey.
She is very cute.
She's a cute girl. She takes it and runs with it, that's for sure.
So, with the reconstruction surgery, her tongue just hangs out all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have, like, the tip of her chin, right?
Right.
Because you think she was shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you said, she is stinking cute, though, and it is one of those things. Listen, if anybody ever said anything, if I was there, I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You say it to my face.
Right. Say it to her
that.
face.
Right, no kidding. You can feel bad about saying it up close, I bet.
And she's so sweet.
Right. But
She'll just kill you with kindness.
Other than that, Shayna, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
If you guys do have any questions, remember you can comment down in the bottom. But other than that, we will see you next time. Thank you guys for watching.